Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Archlector George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
As you all know, we're covering The Blade itself, the first book in the original trilogy. We'll be covering the remarkable talents of Brother Longfoot and her kind fight everything on this episode. So let's get started. Just want to first off thank you guys again for all your support. We hope you appreciate and enjoyed the last episode we did, which is the spoiler special episode where we talked about foreshadowing, tinfoil thoughts, especially from George, and just the usual buffoonery. We hope you really enjoy that. We should I don't know how many more episodes we should do it, guys, but we should probably just shout out the artist again. Just, Barrett Freimeyer and design.at.j on Instagram for the banner art. They're good guys, and their work is of a high quality, right?
A certain caliber.
A certain caliber. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, check them out. And please, again, we will keep bothering you about this, but just, join us on social media, follow us, be part of the herd, and our YouTube page. We will be, we're releasing new content there. I think by the time this episode's released, we will have George's first theory. And it will be a fun one.
You guys have already firmly debunked it, but it's still going to be a fun video to make, so...
That's right, we debunked it. You're freaking wrong. But let's save that for the video.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Archlector doesn't take too much offense and have me and Harrison floating by the docks. Hopefully. Our first...
No promises, Jeff.
Oh, good Lord. My safety is not guaranteed, apparently.
I can't even fight back.
Do I at least get a drink before I die?
Nope, sorry.
A drink.
Oh, Lord. Since we're doing 2 chapters today, we're going to lead off with our first segment, which is the best meme of the week. George, you want to take this off?
So we've got a user, DanatC, on Reddit, who's put a nice meme, which looks like just the content section of a chemistry textbook, but it's got like the properties of gases, the first law, and the second law, and the title is just "By the Dead, this textbook is going to teach me how to be a magi." And yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's about that complicated.
I wonder what the third law is. Do you know, Harrison, Mr.
There is no third law. There's only the 2.
Third law. Oh, wow. It's pretty straightforward.
This is an extra one in the book, so there you go.
There you go.
The third law is do whatever the Magi tell you, otherwise you explode.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was don't be a cunt, but okay.
Nobody follows that one.
Everyone's
Does that mean
a cunt.
bias breaks all 3 laws? Ugh.
Oh.
No,
George. Oh my God.
All right. The many remarkable talents of Brother
Yes.
Longfoot.
Good Lord. So our first chapter read through is the remarkable talents of Brother Longfoot. And so here we meet as integral, important, and borderline racist character. So Logan wakes up and, he's groggy, he's tired, he's hot. Adju is just, it's like New York City or Washington, D.C. in the summer.
Yeah, and he's like from Siberia, so.
Yeah, he is not built for this. He's George on an 85-degree day.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely be waking up like already tired because you've just been tossing and turning all night. That is exactly what it's like.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so he goes to the living room when he wakes up, and there's a stranger in the living room. And he's like, who is this? And it's Brother Longfoot.
I fucking love Brother Longfoot.
Yeah, the man of many talents.
He's like the most earnest, honest, just like happy person in the book. In any of the books.
It's funny too because everybody else isn't, so everyone just is annoyed by him the whole time.
Right.
even like Logan, who's like, he really just wants some friends. He's just like, what the fuck is up with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, why is he just like, oh god, just shut up already?
I really like how we first see him pop up here. He starts talking to Logan, and at first you're thinking, oh, he's like the guy who's gonna show us the way and stuff. And at first you're kind of like Logan, and you're like, okay, this guy sounds like he knows what he's doing. He seems capable. All right, he's still going. He's still going. Oh, he doesn't even care. He doesn't even care about what Logan thinks. Logan's like, he says, what does he say? He asks Logan a question, and then Logan's like, about to answer, and then Brother Longfoot just continues talking.
Yeah, he just answers his own question.
I wonder if he does this whenever he meets somebody new.
Oh, absolutely.
Whenever he like gets to his new assignment, when he has to guide someone or whatever, he just goes through this whole fucking this piece.
Absolutely, he does. He's
just that guy who won't shut the fuck up.
I know, and it's just hilarious. Is that so? He's very excited, right? He's very excited to meet Logan, and then he's excited to meet him, even though he's never heard of him.
Yeah, an honor and a privilege most profound.
Right, and then he's like, then he starts talking about his skill for navigating. Well, which is one of his many remarkable talents. Here we get a little like sneak peek into like what's gonna happen in that they're going to go to the edge of the world, and Logan's like, what?
Yeah.
But this is what happens when Logan doesn't ask what's happening, right? When he doesn't, if you don't want to know what Baez has in store, then it's what you get. That's what you get.
And I just like how kind of tone deaf Brother Longfoot is, like this bit where he asks, like, at the edge of the world, asks Logan suspiciously, and he's just like, yes, we're both excited.
Yeah, he's like, we're equally excited. And then Baez comes into the room, right? And he's like, this must be our navigator. And then Longfoot does the same shtick with him, and Baez he's taken aback, like, by his excitable nature. He looks at Logan. Logan's just like, I don't fucking know. He shrugs his shoulders.
I love how Baez looks at him like, this guy's gonna be fucking annoying, huh?
Like, oh, it's gonna be a long journey.
And I love how the Stephen Pacey's like performance in this section is exactly. He just sounds so tired. Everyone's just like, right, okay, and just like completely fed up with him already. Brilliant.
Yeah. It's like the tone is set. Like Brother Longfoot's tone is so important too. Like the way that Pacey reads his character doing things. It is always so chipper and cheery. Whenever he's not happy, you can always tell instantly. And it also plays really well as contrast for the other characters. Like you were saying, like everyone else is like, okay, and he's like, yes, indeed.
And I love how he just like exaggerates so much. He's like, no, to sail in slow vessels is not my way. I will find you the fastest ship in all of Adua, flying like the breath of God. And he's just like going on this massive speech about the ship. And just like, no, fast is fine. It's okay.
Yeah, just fast. Just chill out. And then he commissions Longfoot to go and charter a ship for their journey, right? And he tells Logan, you should probably accompany him. And during their walk, Longfoot starts talking about the different cities he's been to. He mentions Shaffa, he mentions Osprey, Westport, right? Dagoska.
Yeah.
But his heart lies with Talons, which is a nice little tidbit, nice little Easter egg for an important city that's soon to come.
And I like that because it's not. I would say it's not too much of a spoiler to say that we actually go to most of those places in these books. So even this early, that they're not going to appear in the trilogy, but it's nice to get a bit of world building, even though it's few and far between. I think that stuff kind of sticks in your head, especially these great descriptions.
Yeah, and I like how he maintains it. Like Talons is that way. Like it is pretty. But only whenever you're overlooking the city, not whenever you're actually in the city.
Yeah, like most cities, I think.
Right, yeah. It's like, oh, I love your city. It's so beautiful. I'm like, yeah, but you don't actually live here.
Right. I like this little tidbit that Longfoot, one of his many soliloquies, he talks about how like it was just only noblemen and commoners, and it was simple, and then now there's trade and merchants and bankers and everything, and now a rich commoner has power too. So is he still a commoner or is he a nobleman or something different? Very complicated. And it's
Yeah,
like,
I
mhm.
basically buys he said, like you guys said, he goes to buy a ship, and he tells Logan to go with him. Logan doesn't really want to, but he goes with him anyways. And I like it when he says that as well, because it kind of shows you too, and through the whole series, Brother Longfoot, everybody is annoyed by him, but he's actually a pretty smart, observant dude who does have a lot of skills and talents. But
Mm.
it's like that talented guy that you knew growing up, who happens to be good at everything, but also likes to talk about how good he is at everything. And it's like,
Right.
dude, shut the
And
fuck up.
and he's tone deaf. That's true.
Yeah, Andy's
Yeah.
tone deaf. So, but you're right though, Jeff. I do like how he is like actually smart and actually makes these really kind of philosophical
Mhm.
thoughts. But Logan also just doesn't care about those kinds of things. So
Right.
Exactly.
It's too hot and it's too crowded for him. And then Longfoot is just like crowded. You stupid.
Yeah, exactly. He's just such a one-upmanship kind of guy.
Right. You should've seen
Everybody
this-
knows that kind of person. It's like, oh no, you call this
Yeah.
hot, you call this
Yeah.
cold, you call fuck off.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Right? He starts talking about the palace in Shaffa or the temple in Shaffa during
Which
morning
is-
prayer.
yeah, I was just gonna say that temple there is. I'm pretty sure that's the Great Southern Library that
Oh.
Khalul has turned into into the priest temple, which is where they send the slaves to go and get eaten.
Well,
I
that was
thought-
Sarkhan.
Yeah. I thought it was out of Shaffa, the Southern Library. I thought it was like what George said, Sarkant? Sarkant?
I don't know now.
We should know this. We are the circle of the world.
We really
Oh
should know
shit!
this.
Now to be fair, like the southern mentions are so few and far between that sometimes when you haven't gotten to it yet, you're like, I don't remember because it's freaking you. It's not like with the north where you know every other location because they always talk about it. They never talk about the south, So
Well,
cut us
here's
some
what
slack, people. All right, get off our backs.
Good lord. All right. Well, let me help you out. The libraries of Juvens. It looks like it's Sarkant.
Yeah.
Oh, George.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's
George.
it's not unreasonable to say that this is probably like the biggest. It might be like a real world allegory to like Mecca.
Right.
So
I
it's
think
like
it
the
is,
center of the religion rather than where the prophet himself lives, because he's not going to live in the place, is he?
Nah.
No,
he's
that's a
gonna
good
be
point. Yeah.
He's gonna be taking baths in like white wine and humans and blood.
And
He he shits on a golden toilet like Mr. Trump. So
Wait a
all
minute.
right, back to the chapter. Besides talking about the different cities that he's been to and that we will go to too, he decides to take a shortcut, and Logan's like apprehensive. Logan's like, you sure, buddy?" And then
He's like-
Longfoot gets like hurt. He's like he's dismayed.
He's like, could you really? Could you
Doubt?
actually doubt me?
And
Is
then he
it
goes,
possible?
right, and then he goes, wait, that's true. You don't know me. And it's like, okay, calm down.
It's like when you're teaching a kid, like, oh, he doesn't know yet. Oh, let me
Yeah.
correct him.
He will learn. He will see how great I am.
And then they immediately just walk into this trap.
Oh my god! There wasn't even a trap
Oh.
until Longfoot made their presence way too no.
Yeah, it's just like whipping his cash out and like, oh, have we got enough? Or I don't know.
Logan's like,
Cut-
man, I'd like to. Logan's like, oh, there's a lady over here. I'd
Mhm.
take some money to go buy us these change, right? And
Mhm.
he's like, are you sure you want one of these whores? He was like, he actually makes mention of a place that's mentioned later in the second book of where they train slave girls to
Mhm.
have professional sex. That's the way he makes it sound.
Yeah,
and,
it's like they're trained in the arts.
Yeah, and it's actually that's brought up again later, but I just thought that was an interesting little note there is that it's been brought up all the way back here and then gets
Mhm.
brought up later on.
Yeah, what's the name of the place where they
Um,
Ul
It's
Nob, I think it is.
Ulnab, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Ul Nob. Yeah, I mean here, because they're one of the alleyways that they're going through. There's like ladies of the night, shall we say? And Logan's like,
Well, they're,
no,
they're slaves, aren't they? So it's a bit.
no, 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 not in the Union, right?
When he's talking about Sapani and that, yeah, cool.
Yeah, when they're ladies of the night, isn't that what they call prostitutes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Logan sees a couple of these prostitutes, and he's like, that one there. And he asks Longfoot about, how much money I guess he can borrow. And Longfoot, he just makes their purse, which is a large purse because it's bulging, right? From the description we got earlier. And he's just like shaking it. He's just making all the noise. He's like advertising their money. And then Logan's like, you sure you want to do that? And then next thing you know, they're surrounded. And Logan's pissed. He's like, subtlety isn't one of your talents, is it?
Yeah.
And I like
no, I am a straight talking man.
Yeah, I'm a straight talking man. As you see, uh-oh.
Yeah.
We should also mention though that is like excitable as Longfoot is, the fact that he's like cool with bed slaves is like dick.
Exactly, yeah. It kind of gives you a little peek into his morals there that he isn't the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Then again, this is a historical fictional fantasy thing, and
Yeah, of course.
you're right, shouldn't get engaged in presentism and all that, but fucked up, Longfoot, fucked up. So they get surrounded, and then Logan is forced to defend themselves. He had to smash one guy in the face with an elbow, and took his knife, but then was able to convince the other two guys because they were surrounded by three. And he was like, "Listen, I'll give you the coins that are in my hand. That's what you're worth to me. No more, And I'll just toss this, and then we'll go and we'll go be on our merry way." And then they looked at the guy with the smashed face, and they're like, "All right, it's a good deal." And then they walk away, and Longfoot almost gets stabbed by Logan because he just claps him on the shoulder. And Logan didn't realize that he was hiding. He was so good, quiet, and so good at hiding. He was just right behind Logan's back.
Yeah.
It'd be so funny too if the other guys didn't even realize Brother Longfoot was there. Like, oh, where'd he go?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he says that combat isn't one of his many talents, but that's where his skill at hiding comes into play. He's like, "You son of a bitch."
And this, it sounds so funny too. Like, within the context of the book, we're kind of meant to believe like, oh man, what a coward. But really, I don't really blame him. That's actually a good skill to have. And
Yeah.
it's like if Brother Longfoot, yeah, he's annoying, but like also he's got everything right. He does everything what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, other than the fact that he's annoying, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's annoying, and his view on bed slaves isn't acceptable, but he is pretty funny.
He'd definitely be more pleasant to like spend an afternoon with. He's probably the one character in the book you'd actually like to have a conversation with.
Right, because he does actually like to talk.
Actually, interestingly though, it's like some of these characters you actually wouldn't mind spending like the first day with them, but it's after the first day you want to spend time with them. Like Logan would be quite welcoming, quite a good conversationalist. But the more you got to know him, the more you start getting worried that he was gonna just chop your head off for no reason.
Yeah, and Baez, when you first meet Baez, he's like the nicest man.
Yeah, but
Quiet.
then over time you start just feeling a certain pressure,
Yeah. And then Kwai, maybe a little inept. Okay, Harrison, but he's a nice boy.
And then you get tired of his laziness and be like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah.
But anyways, so
Oh,
these guys come out of the woodwork seeing all this money, and they're like, "Hey, that's a lot of money for a little man."
Yeah,
And
cover that. Yeah.
Logan's like, "All right, I'll deal with this, I guess." So, I mean, it's a pretty short little sequence where he basically just intimidates them, and is like, "Get out of here!" And he has this whole like still alive moment and everything. And Brother Longfoot is like, "Man, you're quite good at that."
Mm-hmm.
I like how he does that as well. Like he comes in, starts this argument with these guys, and then just fucks off. It's like, all right, so yeah, you can deal with it. Well done. Good one.
Good job. Good job.
Did a great job. Any other notes about that chapter?
No. Go on to the racing and everything.
No, it's just a fun little chapter.
Okay.
Where would you rate it then, Harrison?
I think I'd rate it probably a 3.
Oh.
And it's basically just because the only thing that we get in here is just Brother Longfoot. It's just fun and it's a great, but it like doesn't actually do anything. You know what I mean? Like it's just him. Like here's Brother Longfoot, and it's entertaining. But they and I'm glad it's in here, but also like it's almost unnecessary, but it is necessary for Brother Longfoot because he's such a unique character. So it's that's I think it's a 3 for me. It's not bad or anything. Again, none of it's bad.
No, I understand. I honestly, Harrison, that's my score too for this chapter. 3.
Maybe
Oh,
3
sweet.
3s.
3 out of
Oh, shit.
trifecta.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very short chapter. Again, not much happens, but just Brother Longfoot himself is enough to bring it up to a 3, right?
Yeah. That and the little bit of world building that we get.
Right. The world building is nice. It's a nice little addition.
Mm.
Okay, look at that trifecta right off the bat. How does it make you guys feel? Makes me feel like we're simpatico.
Right.
I thought I was special.
I thought it was special. Damn, George. The fuck. Me and Harrison, I guess, will just fuck off.
And that was me who said that. What are you talking about, Jeff?
Oh, I thought
You must
George
be
said-
tired.
I thought George was just like, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought
That's a
George
joke.
said. I know it's a joke, man.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
I'm too hungover.
Is this the end?
No. If this is the end, oh my god, that would be. We had no kind of working chemistry whatsoever. Then, if that was the case,
That's all it took, right? It's just one
That's all
tiny
it took.
argument.
That's it. Son of a bitch, he didn't think it was special. I'm out. All right, so let's move on to our question of the week, and we kind of switched it up this time. George, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so this time I think we're going to ask you guys a question because I've been thinking about this a lot. There's a lot of fan casting for specific characters and things like that on the subreddits, especially. But I think what would be interesting is who would you like to direct the series? If it be it like a TV or films or anything like that, who do you think would be the best? So Jeff, do you want to give me your choice there?
Yeah, sure. Well, George, I believe you mentioned. I'm not going to talk about what you mentioned because you might actually want to use them. I like a couple of choices. Nicholas Winding Refn. Do you know he did Valhalla and Only God Forgives and that other movie with Ryan Gosling, Drive. Okay, the very stylized kind of thing, especially if you watch that movie Valhalla with Mads Mikkelsen. It's pretty graphic, so I'm like, oh, he could do the violence pretty well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like him, and I have one more in my head. Just give me a minute. Maybe Harrison, you want to chime in while I think of my other guy? I had him.
I'm trying to think of my guys too, because like I have some idea, but one of them I was thinking that might be good is Matt Reeves. He did the Cloverfield Paradox. He also did the Planet of the Apes movies, famously. He also did the new Batman movie. I just really like his style, like cinematically and theme wise. He's really good at that stuff, and I just think it'd be really unique to see. I think see what he would be able to come up with the characters, because he's able to show a lot of character with his directing style. And I think that would work out really well for the characters themselves. But I'm not sure he'd be the best overall, but I really like him for the character aspect.
I like that. I like both of those, actually. They're two that I would never have come up with in a million years as well, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I like Guy Ritchie for this.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie's great.
If anybody's ever seen a Guy Ritchie film, Snatch or Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, it's just it's very quick, it's very snappy. Lots of snap cuts, lots of people like explaining as they're walking and doing stuff like that. And I think that would mesh really well with Joe's writing style.
I like that choice a lot.
And especially if you watch his film, The Legend of King Arthur, because that's sort of like a fantasy film, and he does that pretty well, even though that wasn't very well received.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Snatch, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. Okay, because my computer just went to sleep. Sorry.
So yeah, we're gonna put a poll up when this episode comes out. So you guys vote if you like those three, or just give us your suggestions, and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, my second guy, Guillermo del Toro.
Oh yeah,
I was going to mention him as well. I was trying to think of my other guy, so I think he would be pretty good at it.
I think he'd be great at it too. But yeah, please, everyone. We'll put up I think you said a poll, George, or a post or something on Reddit.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And same thing on social media. We'll do it on Facebook or Instagram. Trying to encourage you guys to follow us once again. And hopefully we can discuss that again on our next episode. So then we'll move on over to our second chapter read through. I believe George or Harrison, did you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. So her kind fight everything. Ooh. So we find Nefero and Yulwei, who've just made it to what seems like Dagoska. So they've made it on their long journey so far, because their entire arc so far is just them going to Dagoska. So it's nice that they've actually got there. And Yulwei says, that they've got to pass through this enormous army, and the Eaters are there as well. So obviously, Yulwei goes off to scout ahead to see if there's a way through, and Pharaoh just runs away immediately.
Yeah, it's funny that she's like been planning this out and shit. And I remember the first time I read this, I was like, bro, what the hell are you doing? He was a nice guy. Like, what the fuck? You fucking idiot. But also, like, I mean, it makes sense for her character, but goddamn, it's a stupid move.
Right. Like, for me, for a second, I was like, why is she running away? When I first read it, I was like, oh, right, she doesn't want to go north. Oh, got it. But that's unnecessary. The man saved your life.
Dude, it's not even that she doesn't want to go north. It's just that she wants to have vengeance on the Gurkish, and the Gurkish are on the south. That's the only reason. If the Gurkish were in the north, she'd go north.
Well, technically, the Gurkish are right in front of them, and she could just kill some Gurkish right there.
Yeah, but that'd be suicide, wouldn't it?
So,
which
Pharaoh's goofy sometimes. She goofy.
But I think it is this. It's like it comes back to her main central character trait is that she's been so badly damaged by the Gurkish and what she considers to be like the entirety of the Gurkish.
Right.
That it just overrides everything else. And even though not Pharaoh, Yulwei explains exactly what's going to happen to her, all these horrible things that are going to happen to her if she gets captured, she sort of just regressed.
Yeah, she just has one sole purpose.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah. She doesn't.
She just kind of, like you said, she gets caught up in it, and when she gets scared, she reverts back. So she came over the ridge, she saw Dagoska, and she'd been preparing for it. But I think she saw Dagoska and realized, like, oh, I'm about to cross the sea, and then she got freaked out by that of something different, of something changing. Maybe she doesn't feel like she's being true to herself if she's not always pursuing vengeance. Like she's, not making everybody else's sacrifices worth it, not making her own sacrifice worth it if she doesn't do what she promised herself she would do.
Oh, right, like it's all for nothing.
Right, yeah, that's why she's always like, I have to do this.
Yeah, it's the only thing she's living for at this point.
That's what I mean. It seems almost animalistic. You know what I mean? It's like instinctual, especially at this point where she basically runs as far as she can and then just falls asleep.
Yeah.
Which is funny because she doesn't normally fall asleep.
No, exactly. And then, but it's funny as well that she's like, oh my God, I'm like so thirsty. And obviously, if you're really thirsty, you're more likely to fall asleep. So, but she's also just swam through a river. So it didn't occur to her at the time to think, oh, I'll stop and get some water here. Because she's literally just like that desperate to get away.
She is just not the smartest character.
She isn't that smart, but that's what I mean. Like, she is intelligent, but this need and central drive of her character sort of overpowers everything.
It clouds her thinking.
And it honestly is a common trait in people, honestly, as a whole. But
Exactly,
like
yeah.
she is like the peak extreme version of it. Whenever you get obsessed with something, you can't let go of it.
Right. And she mentioned it when she talked to Yulwei about it before, I think in the previous chapter or so. Her humanity has been stripped away. They whip it out of you, the Gurkish.
Yeah.
So it's hard to think about what what you want to do in life, or the bakery that you want to open when
the vengeance
been
bakery.
scarred. Yeah, just
You could have the
revenge rolls.
revenge rolls, old bastard pies.
Oh, bastard.
Oh dear. And I like that's
Whipped
that's the
Emperor.
first thing she she thinks to herself when she falls asleep is that stupid old bastard.
Yeah, right.
A stupid fool.
He's stupid. He turned around. He left me alone. Ha ha.
Yeah.
I always thought that was so funny too. It's like, are you serious? You're taking a win over that? He was helping you.
Yeah. And then she wakes up with a start, right, George?
Yep, and the eaters have found her. It's just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, she's like,
they've just
oh,
found her immediately.
yeah. He's all like, I can smell you, Pharaoh.
Being really super creepy, and just I like this is like the first villain that bad aligned character that we found that is actually just a pure villain.
Right.
Yeah,
Like he's just like really like absolutely enjoying this. Like tracking down this person, seeing all their own soldiers get killed, and they're just like, "Oh dear."
Yeah, they're just dicking around. They're like, "Oh, so Pharaoh takes out the other soldiers, except for the brother and sister, or they call themselves that. They're pretty sure they're not, and they're a man and a woman. And the woman is like, "Oh, good show," like completely entertained, and the guy is all like, oh, "Come here, bitch."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
And
She shoots the shoulders, the soldiers, right? She kills them all.
Kills a few of them with arrows, and then one of them with a knife, I think.
Or scimitar.
Sword.
Straight up corrected you, George. Holy shit!
All right.
God damn.
Damn, Harrison. Okay, that is historical. Really taking everyone to task. And then what? Then she tries to attack the eaters, right?
Yeah, it's not great effect, to be honest, because they are basically immortal zombie people who eat flesh.
But it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it is very fucking funny. Like just absolutely, Pharaoh's not lost a fight yet, and she's very, very proficient, probably more so than a lot of people for reasons that we'll find out later. But yeah, they just wipe the floor with her. It's not even a contest.
No, it's not. And the funny thing is, he's like, "All right, well, Malgin, should we?" And then just an arrow comes out of nowhere and hits him in the chest, and he's like, "Shall we begin?"
This is it's a lot of comedic elements in this fight.
Mm-hmm. And also, apparently, eaters can access bullet time. Right? He runs so fast that it's like everything's in slow motion.
Yeah, this is nice as well. We get like the proper, like a proper look at what the eaters are like. I mean, they've been mentioned, but we haven't actually seen one yet that we know of.
Yeah, and they're like normal people don't stand a chance at all.
No, so they are basically like the proper bad guys.
It's interesting too that as we know, not to get too spoilery, but the eaters are not. They don't become eaters. These ones don't become eaters by choice. So they, especially the youngest ones. So, I would be probably a little fucked up too if I was forced to become a cannibal and probably eat somebody that I loved in order to make that happen. And probably locked up in a cage and commanded what to do for years until I became completely subservient. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like these guys are the bad guys, and they are like, they're like the stereotypical kind of like bad people, but also it's a slight kind of there's justification for them being that way. Not that it's right, but
And then we get Your Way shows back up again. He's obviously figured out what's going on and followed on after her.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the female eater's like, "Who are you, old bastard?" And he's just like, "I'm an old bastard."
He's heard it so much from Pharaoh. He's like, "Oh, you too?"
Yeah, for God's sake, it's spreading.
it's a fucking virus.
Yeah. And then they're all like, "Yeah, we're coming right from the prophet Kalul himself, yo. She's coming with us." And he's like, "I can't change your minds." And then he's like sad about it.
Yeah, I like this. Like he's trying to basically get them to go away, and they're just like, first they completely dismiss him, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I knew your prophet guy, Kalul. Like we used to be mates." And he's just like,
back in uni.
"Oh, we'll give him your regards when we give him the news of your death." And he's just like, he'd like that.
And it's interesting to see that whenever they're talking about taking her, they're like, "Ooh, the prophet's going to like this one." Like he's obviously got some kind of plan for her.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But Your Way is like all sad and shit, and then they're like, "Okay, we'll kill both of you." Then is what the eaters are like, and they both pretty much die almost instantly.
As soon as they like make a move towards Your Way, right? One of them, Harrison, explain this. Explain to us what Your Way's magic did to them.
I believe Your Way's magic is that he says he put fire in one and water in the other, or vice versa, and I believe what he did is just changed atomically, like in their bodies through like biology, that he changed the molecules to match up with that. Because we've seen him, he can't be seen by other people, even though he's actually there. He can change the way things look, perception wise. So I believe, like what we talked about before, is that he's got a sort of art that allows him to affect the body. Because he doesn't like shoot like a fireball at them or something, but he just changes inside of their body.
And that obviously takes like a lot of skill. Like he's managed to separate exactly just her bones and turn them to water.
Yeah,
which is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I like it too because we've seen Baez use some high art, and you're like, well, that's pretty powerful. And then we see how powerful these eaters are. We know Pharaoh is formidable, and these eaters are already powerful. And Your Way dispenses them very easily. And then he basically says, yeah, those guys were the young eaters. They weren't even that good. And you're like, Jesus, how powerful are these people really going to be? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I like how Your Way doesn't even like admonish Pharaoh or anything for running away. He's just like, all right, come on.
Yeah. Well, first I thought it was interesting when they were looking at her fingers, I guess, because her hand got broken, her fingers got broken in the fight, or the ass whipping, if you could call it a fight. And she says something interesting here. She goes, it doesn't hurt. Why does it never hurt? And then Your Way is like, well, they're not going to stop looking for you. So do you see why you have to come with me? And she's like, I see. Yes.
He's like such a dad moment where he's like, all right,
she finally,
you
at
done
least
now?
for another couple of days anyway, and then she'll just she'll run away again.
Yeah,
she'll do something. Oh, these teenagers,
these young whippersnappers,
just always having to rebel. So, and then she basically passes out, and that's the end of that chapter. What do you guys rate that chapter as?
I reckon I'll give that one a 5. Because I like the introduction for the eaters. Gives us like a proper scary, knowing that there's so many of them out there, and they're all coming for Pharaoh. I mean, that's a really good image, and I do like this chapter a lot for that.
Kind of raises the stakes a little bit, huh?
Exactly. We get a first good look at something a bit more sinister and powerful.
Yeah.
Jeff,
what about you guys?
Well, I'll give it a 6 out of 9. I liked it a lot. The introduction to the eaters, and just the fact that even though they're basically the lowest tier of eaters, they were still able to just wipe the floor with Pharaoh. I was like, oh, we have some like as George said, formidable bad guys. Ooh, this is interesting. And then, just I like the little bit of what's the word intrigue here with Pharaoh never being actually feeling pain. Like, why doesn't she feel pain? That just
And there's
I
a little
like
bit
that.
more of the character there. I didn't notice that, to be honest. I like that.
There's a little bit what?
I said I like that.
Yeah. So that's I give it a 6 out of 9.
I give it a 4 out of 9. I like the introduction of the eaters. I like that, like you said, George, it kind of raises the stakes and stuff, and we get to see more of Yulway. And I like how he's also like, I believe this is the first mention of him, of we finding out that Yulway is connected and knows Kalul, or the
Right.
prophet. And I like that that's introduced. I'm like, oh, what's going on with that? That's it. It kind of just it does good world building while keeping the tension high. But it's a pretty short chapter, and again, it's kind of one of those chapters where it's important for Pharaoh to have had this moment again, for it to have to learn the same lesson again. But it's also like we probably could have done without it. Not that it's a wasted chapter, but I think you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, we do. I get it. We get it. Okay, so those are the chapter ratings. Hope you guys enjoy that. We'll move on to our character spot. And our character spot is Brother Longfoot. Who else would it be?
Yeah. I love Brother Longfoot. He's just just wholesome. You know what I mean?
Wholesome?
He's pretty wholesome,
sure.
except for the whole bed slave thing. We'll just ignore that. But like you said, no
ignore that.
no
Okay.
presentism and all that. He's
Right,
just he's constantly in your face, really. And I think everybody knows this kind of person that's just constantly happy all the time.
Yeah, it's like
You can wear on somebody though.
Yeah. But I think we can forgive him. I love him personally.
What were you gonna say, Harrison?
I really like his introduction. Like, he has his own setup introduction. I like that you're kind of meant to believe that he is a certain way. Like, you're like, oh, he's kind of like that character in the book that gets introduced as not the mentor character, but the guide. He is literally the epitome of a guide character, and I love how he does all the things the guide's supposed to do, but at the same time, he's also like more than just the guide. Like, unfortunately, in a lot of stories, when the guide character comes up, that's all they end up being. It's just the guide, and he has a lot more character to that. That he's got a negative side to him, which is the fact that he's annoying. He's clearly doesn't really, he knows what he's talking about, but he's kind of self-obsessed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really appreciate, like, even a character like Brother Longfoot, which I'm sure we'll probably highlight again later on, is, got so much character to him, despite him just being the guide, the side character. And, that doesn't wane at all over time either.
True.
Yeah.
He is consistently this way all the time.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a character arc, so to speak, but I definitely think you're right in that he more character than the equivalent character in another book.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And he does get to meet, like, just, I guess, his effect and other characters' perception of him. He's honestly, everyone else's perception of him kind of is the same, isn't it? They all just go like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. Everybody's either don't know what to make of him, or they just think he's an idiot.
I wonder if they did. Yeah, I think every character kind of initially questions just how good of a navigator he is, and then they're like, "Oh no, he's actually really good at it." But they're like, "Does that outweigh his personality?" Does it? Maybe, maybe not. And I guess we should, if we're gonna talk about Brother Longfoot, we got to talk about the particular accent that Pacey gives him, right?
Yeah,
he's meant to be, I guess, of
sort of, Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, that kind of accent, and I think it is well done, and I don't think it's in bad taste, to be honest.
No, yeah, honestly, I don't think it's in bad taste. I mean, how else if you're gonna illustrate where he's from?
I mean,
especially in an audiobook, like, you're gonna do it via an accent.
Yeah, exactly, and I think this is probably the most sort of I don't want to say foreign, but the most far removed from the other accents. So it makes sense
Okay,
because
yeah.
he's obviously from somewhere that's so far away that he doesn't even say what it is. It's just like, oh, I'm from, who cares?
Yeah, he doesn't say where he's from, right?
Not yet. I don't know. He might do later.
He doesn't ever say where he's from. No.
Let's see. So
Not even
He's from
before they're hanged.
he's from the Great Order of Navigators.
yeah.
That's it. That's literally it. Okay. All right.
Remember,
Alrighty.
even Logan inside this chapter makes a note that he doesn't know. It's impossible to tell how old he is.
Mhm.
Obviously he's traveled a lot, but fuck, he could be like 50 years old. You know what I mean? Like it's just hard to tell.
Could be 50 or 25,
Yeah.
right?
So get ready for my video next week. It's whether Brother Longfoot is an eater or not.
Oh my god.
It's just hides
Well,
it really
guys,
well.
when are we gonna do? Is the Glock? When are we gonna do all the characters who might be related to the Shanka?
Oh lord. The tinfoil is strong with George. I love it. I love it.
Well, if you can't laugh at yourself,
Right. That's a good skill to have.
One of my remarkable talents.
Oh. George has many. Anything else we want to mention about Longfoot? Like anything that kind of like comes to mind? Like I'm interested to know how good of it, like how he developed the skill to navigate so well. Like,
I think this is
I
it's
can't
quite
really-
interesting because this isn't really like a historical thing. There isn't just like a group of people who just learn how to do this because it's sort of something that everyone has to sort of pick up. So every culture and sort of organization needs somebody who can do this. So
Yeah.
it's quite a wide-ranging sort of study.
Well, I will say this though, right? Is that the circle of the world, like geographically, is very unique because everyone knows how to get everywhere. Like there isn't any place that's hard to get to, but in order to survive, getting to where you need to go is actually a lot harder than what you think it'd be. Like if you know where you had to get to the north, you can go to England or you can go to like up through Ufrith or whatever. But like if you want to get to the high places, getting all the way up there is probably super dangerous, and it's a little bit different compared to our world, where even in medieval times, yeah, you could probably travel wherever you needed to, and you'd probably be all right. Yeah, you might get mugged, but here in the circle of the world, you go to the west, you're gonna be dealing with a whole bunch of like raiders and shit constantly. You go to the north, you're gonna be dealing with a constant amount of warfare and like these super highly trained named men who are gonna just hunt you down for no reason because King Bethod wants his taxes. Yeah, and the Union is really safe, but that's mostly Midderland because if you go to Stericland, you're gonna be dealing with a whole bunch of peasant uprisings. In the south, you could just get grabbed and turned into a slave. Thond and Soljuk is not explored at all. So if you want to take the best routes, it makes sense that there would be an order of navigators or people who would guide other people who know because if you think about it, he doesn't just know how to get places. He knows the languages, he knows the cultures, he knows how to talk to people, even if it is annoying, So
I like that as well. He does mention that he speaks Northern probably better than Logan does.
right, even
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense that you would have somebody who would, if you want to travel somewhere, you hire one of these guys, and they'll make sure you get there. And what if you needed it? And they may not just be navigators either. Like he mentions that some of them know how to fight, and so they could also be
Except him.
Yeah, except him, right? He said a lot of them are really good, like in hand to hand. Like so, it seems like they basically teach a whole bunch of skills, and then they hire out. But they tend to be more navigators than anything else. So they just happen to be the Great Order of Navigators.
Right.
I don't know. That's just speculation.
What I also
like
just
it.
thought about, I like how every order apparently has to be great. The Great Order of Magi.
I know.
The Great Order of Navigators.
That's a good point. Yeah.
The Great Order of Fuckheads.
Are we calling
like that.
ourselves the wrong name? Should we be the Great Order of the Circle of the World?
That's a lot that's a mouthful. That's so I mean we can be the Great Order of Trio idiots. Whatever, it doesn't work. We're not doing it. Idiots. The Great Order of Idiots. All right. Well, that's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all again for listening and supporting this podcast. As you all know by now, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support does mean a lot to us.
Join us next week as we cover She Loves Me Not and The Seed.
And make sure you answer our question on social media when this pops up. When we're uploading this episode, we're going to put the poll up on Reddit. So go and vote and add your own answers for the director that you'd like to see adapt Joe Abercrombie's stuff.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any podcast app that you use to listen to podcasts on. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast as it helps to spread our reach. Thank you all again for listening.
God has seen fit to bless me with many remarkable talents, but combat is not one of them.